got me a 4-unit property in a beautiful Chicago suburb, no money down. I kept all of my money in my pocket, which was about 12 grand. I walked away from the closing table with a $5,000 check.
Okay.
And I was financially free after that.
Welcome to the House Rich Show. We talk to average people that have done above average things in real estate. The sponsor for today's show is House Rich, the official brand of home ownership. Use promo code POD, POD, for a discount on merchandise. So today we're going to talk to Andre Haynes, better known as Renaissance 125, or maybe better known as Andre, depends who you talk to. So I love his story because he's like the epitome of like the average person. Like, I don't think he's had any handouts in life, but he got information, executed on, and now he's financially free through real estate and other avenues as well. So you tell the folks a little bit about yourself, Andre.
What's going on, man? Appreciate you having me on. Again, like you said, my name is Andre Haynes, aka Renaissance 125 across all social media platforms. And I'm a regular dude from the South Side of Chicago, man, the Ivy Wells projects. I didn't grow up with, financial literacy. I had a real struggle as a childhood. Both parents had drug issues. I was adopted into my own family. And I really just had to figure this shit out, man.
So I came across you about a year and a half ago through like a stock options thing. And then I started following you a little bit more, and I kind of got into found out a little bit more about your journey into real estate and using the NACA program. So how did you get like involved in NACA? Like, how did you get started there?
Through a mentee, a mentor of mine. She's like a big sister to me. I had stepped away from music because I was chasing a music career probably like from my teenage years all the way up till I was like 26, 27 years old. And after a while, I just realized, it wasn't paying no dividends. And I had, bills, kids, all of these different things that, just I wasn't making a priority. And it was just time for me to really just like man up. So I kind of like had to make a conscious decision and effort to step away from music, which was extremely humbling for me. Mm-hmm. And I went and got me a job, man. And it was a job at like a telemarketing company that was just like the weakest shit in the world, where I'm just like putting people in schools like I'm from Colorado Tech University, AIU, Kaplan, schools that just weren't accredited and shit like that. But like I did good because I could make sales, I could talk, I'm a hustler, you know what I mean? And I would hit bonuses and just like make all kind of extra money. And after a while, man, I just saw myself sitting on like 10 grand. And throughout that process, I had been educating myself and reading, because once I stepped away from music, I really just tried to like figure out another way for me to be wealthy, because I hadn't given up on my dream of being wealthy, because like I always wanted to be wealthy. Like just it was something in me that just drove me to, chase wealth and, and riches, because I just didn't like that post shit. Like that shit just didn't feel good to me. It just never just like sat well with me. So I put everything into just trying to, break those curses that, my family had been dealing with forever. And like I say, man, I came across Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Money Master the Game. And those books just like really like changed my life and turned me on to like mindset and just finance, and how those two things pretty much can like get you to where you want to go, if if you take the proper steps. And that was just kind of like me going down a rabbit hole. And from there, man, it's just been like nonstop, you know what I mean? And I'm super blessed to be where I am right now.
So you talked to the mentor, and she was just kind of telling you about real estate and the program in general. And the reason I bring that up is because I'm if you know me or don't know, hopefully you know me, I'm on the podcast, but I always hear about NACA program as a loan officer, and I would always just hear like negative stuff about it. And so people would bring it up to me, and I never have anything good to say. So like, what encouraged you to actually explore the program? Like, what was it that she may have said?
She just told me all the benefits of it, and then too, I trust her. Like, she ain't never told me nothing wrong. She always looked out for me, made sure I was straight, and I know she knew what she's talking about, because she's smart as fuck. Mm-hmm. And she was just like, like, cause I called her, I'm like, hey, I'm ready to buy a house. I got like 10 grand saved up, you know what I mean? Tired of renting or whatever the case may be. And she was just like, that's cool, but you should consider a multi-unit. And it was confirmation for me, because Rich Dad, Poor Dad had kind of like said the same thing, like, man, buy assets, you know what I mean? Buy you something that's going to generate income or whatever the case may be. And she was like, man, check out this program. It's called NACA, Neighborhood Assistance Corporations of America. You can get up to a multi-unit property 4 units, no money down, the lowest interest rate. They take care of your attorney, closing costs, all of these different things that just sounded like really like too good to be true.
Yeah.
And again, I trusted, so I followed up with it, and man, she was spot on. So I went in, met with my counselor. They confirmed all the stuff that she said. You know what I mean? Did my background check. You know what I mean? My 2 years taxes, credit, all of that kind of stuff. Told me what I need to do to go ahead and get pre-qualified. I did everything I needed to do, and the rest is history, man. I went through the NACA program the first time. I got me a 4-unit property in a beautiful Chicago suburb, no money down. I kept all of my money in my pocket, which was about 12 grand. I walked away from the closing table with a $5,000 check.
Okay.
And I was financially free after that because I was able to go live in a building that pretty much took care of itself and me at the same time. You know what I mean? And the day that I closed, it was cool because not only did I get to keep all of my money and I got that extra $5,000 from a seller's concession, I walked into rent checks and I got paid for my job that same day. And I didn't have no bills because I had just eliminated all my bills. So it was just like the best feeling in the world that I'm sitting on all this cash on top of me having a place to live for absolutely free. So it was just like the most like eclectic, just like most like ecstatic, just exciting feeling that I had ever felt because I had never sat on that much money before.
Yeah.
And I didn't have nothing to do with it per se. Like I didn't have to pay nobody, I ain't owe nobody. It was just like, cause you know, when you get a mortgage or whatever, like they make sure like you good on all your debt and everything. So like I didn't owe nothing. I had paid my car off, everything. So I'm like, damn, I got like 20-something grand. What am I gonna do with this? Like I told you, I had been reading. Like I say, Money Master the Game, Rich Dad Poor Dad, all that. I had been learning about the stock market. So I took all that money and put it into the stock market. And it was just like 2 of the best decisions I had ever made, buying that first property and putting that money into the stock market, because that money into the stock market led to a second property through NACA, which I got through my girlfriend at the time. You know what I mean? And it just like really set me up like to do everything that I'm doing now. Like, so without me being able to well, actually, so the first property, it allowed me to step away from my job after a year.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So I wasn't working anymore. So it freed me up like that. And I just had time, I had cash. So I just started working on building my brand, trying to figure out ways that I can help people and, you know what I mean, in my own unique way and being creative with it. And that's how you got, you know what I mean, like the Renaissance Report, the Landlord Life, collecting gems, like all of this different content that I produce. That's how you end up like with the merch, the Mindset Matters. I'm working, I got a book just finished, you know what I'm saying, 5-step guide on getting your shit together here.
Okay.
I've been just like doing a lot over these past like 5 or 6 years, and it's all because of that first deal that I got through the NACA program, man. It freed me up and it allowed me to just like really like, you know what I mean, start to live life on my own terms.
Yeah, that's what I really like your story, because like you didn't do anything special, but execute on the information.
That's it.
That's the key point a lot of folks miss. Like folks will get information, have it, do nothing with it, then a year later, you know, they wonder why they're in the same spot. So yeah, he just executed on information that he had there. Can you talk a little bit more about the guidelines? Because I know it's kind of like no credit, no money down. Like what actually do you need to actually get a NACA loan in the first place?
To get a NACA loan, of course, it's the same thing as anywhere else. You know, 2 years tax returns, work history, debt to income got to be in order. I mean, that debt to income ratio got to be in order. But the benefits of it are they don't care about like your credit score. You know what I mean? As long as your DTI straight. So if your credit score shit 500, 460, whatever, as long as your DTI is in order, you don't have like none in collections and none of that kind of stuff, you can still get approved for the lowest interest rate in the country through NACA with the option to buy it down lower.
Okay.
Which is what the main benefit is of the program. Like nobody else won't allow you to do that. Like I don't know another program that allow you to buy your interest rate down below 1%. Like, you know
like
what I'm saying?
I see on that website, they basically say that if you can pay rent, you can pay mortgage. They basically say,
you can pay mortgage.
Can you pay your bills? Okay, you can pay a mortgage. Essentially, is their motto there.
That's exactly what they're saying. So they saying if you can pay $1,200-$1,300 rent, you can afford that mortgage too. You know what I mean? And they help you get there, man. That's what I love about the program. And not only do they help you get there, but they protect you throughout the process. They not gonna let you like buy into like no shitty deal or none of that. They do their due diligence and they go through everything like with a fine tooth comb. Like, you know what I mean? Like I got a client right now who I help and I'm helping going through the program. And you know, she keep running into like slick ass sellers that like, you know, trying to sell property like with encroachment issues or like, you know, zoning issues that they think people won't necessarily, you know, go do due diligence on, look up and find this information. And NACA so thorough with this stuff, man. They be pulling all these records, calling motherfuckers out on this shit, and they be like getting too frustrated. Like I mean, like this is their job. They not gonna let you put their client in a bad situation. And a lot of lenders don't go that far. You know what I mean? A lot of lenders they just want to get you the loan, start collecting that interest in it. You know what I mean? Go ahead on with their day, but they really like have their clients' best interest in mind, and I love it about them. Like they ain't gonna let nobody get over on you. They not gonna let your agent get over on you, your attorney, nobody. Like they really like thorough.
Yeah, that's a good point, because like I would always hear the negative thing from realtors, and I never really knew that aspect, how thorough they go into the program. Because probably if you're a realtor trying to sell a home, you don't want somebody.
Yeah, you trying to do it fast. Like you don't give a fuck about none of that other shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like you just trying to get your check. Like the whole time, NACA like, nah, we trying to protect the person that's buying this property. So if it's a water stain right here, if it's any of that, like we need to get some type of history on it, see what's going on. And if we can't, you need to get it fixed before we close. And people don't like that, but it's best for the sell. It's best for the buyer though, because that way they're stopping you from walking into a property that has problems.
And so you mentioned you used the program twice. I know the NACA program is for a primary residence. I think they put like a lien on the property. So how'd you go about? You touched on it a little bit. How'd you go about using the program twice?
So like I said, the second time around, I just had my girl do it, and just added my name to the deed. And instead of me like moving out of my property, I just do stuff like peer space, Airbnb. That way I still live there and nobody else inhabits the property legally but me. It's still in my name and everything in that particular unit.
Okay.
So I do short-term rentals out of my particular space. You know what I mean? I come over here and I stay with her in the house sometimes or whatever the case may be. It's just like a real cool situation, and they give you options, man. So like don't be scared like to see what your options are, because there's a lot of loopholes in this shit. And it's legal loopholes. Like I ain't like move out and put a tenant in the property or nothing. I just do short term. And that's not, don't say nothing about that in the paperwork, but you can't do that.
Yeah. So talk about that for a little bit, because I've seen some of the peer space you've done. Like, you talk a little bit more about that program, not program, but talk about the company peer space.
Yeah, peer space is cool because it allows you like to rent out your space without you even having to leave. Like you can still have your whole life in the house. And people just want to rent the space for a couple hours, and it generates just as much money, if not more money, than Airbnb, because it's an hourly thing, and you can put a minimum on there. So let's say I want to make $200 every time. If I have the space $100 an hour, I'll be like, all right, cool. You got to rent it for at least 2 hours, or you can't rent it at all. You know what I mean? So it give you a lot of options, and most times you got to think Airbnb. Overnight, depending on the size of the space and the quality of the space, you're thinking $200 a night. You know what I mean? I mean, I get that easy with peer space by doing an hour rental for somebody wanting to do a photo or video shoot. And then too, it allows me to rent out multiple rooms at the same time. So I could put my main room on peer space. I could put my office on peer space. I could put my main bedroom and bathroom on peer space, all separate listings, and have 3 separate shootings going at the same time in those particular rooms. Airbnb won't allow you to do multiple bookings at the same time.
And does it pretty much cover everything? Like if somebody was to slip and fall in your space, do they have insurance? Is it pretty much everything they cover?
Yeah.
Okay. And so jumping back to NACA, so you talk about a lot of the positive things. Were there some cons or any drawbacks you found through the program?
Yeah, I ain't know no better with a lot of stuff. So a lot of stuff just took too long based on my particular, you know what I'm saying, understanding. But at the end of the day, that's just how it is, man. When you're dealing with a program that gives so much, like it's just not gonna be fast. Like you gotta understand this. Those people are overworked. They don't have enough employees. And it's a million motherfuckers out here trying to go through the NACA program because it's motherfuckers out here like me telling everybody about it. Like, you know what I'm saying? So like that doesn't help the cause at all. You know what I mean? Just like I tell people all the time, if you want to go through this program, don't be in no rush. If you're looking to get you something within 3 months, 4 months, something like that, it's probably not the program for you. You know what I mean? Like if you can be patient, if you understand the benefits of this program, if you understand the benefits of being able to get started by and keeping all of your money, being able to end. Because I don't think people really understand, like most times when people first buying a property or they first time buying a house, like of us sleeping on a mattress on the floor. Like you ain't able to like just fill the house up with furniture and deck it all out and make it flat because you spent all your money on your down payment.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Most times, you know what I mean? So at the end of the day, NACA allows you to like walk into a situation where not only you can just buy you a multi-unit property that cash flow, but you get to keep your money in your pocket. You know what I mean? You can use it to reinvest, go start you another business, buy your furniture, do whatever. Like you have options. You know what I mean? A lot of places you got to put that 3.5% down or whatever percent down. That should be most of your savings a lot of times. You know what I mean? So especially if you're dealing with like people who just like ain't really had savings, you know what I mean? They just really learned the process. Like shit, $7,000 is a lot of money to somebody who ain't ever had $7,000. You know what I mean? Like, so like they set you up beautifully, man. And that's why I try to encourage people, like, if you want to like get off to a great start with a low interest rate and a program that's gonna pretty much walk you through the door by hand, it's it.
And so you mentioned that the property cash flows. Does the property have to cash flow? Because like with the FHA property, like it has to pass basically the FHA. So there's no like stipulation like that? Okay.
No, it don't got a cash flow. It just got to make enough sense to where it's like, if it don't cash flow, you got to be able to afford whatever extras, you know what I'm saying? And typically that's why the multi-unit is great, because even for that, your particular part of the mortgage gonna be a couple $100. You know what I'm saying? As opposed to $1,200, $1,500, $2,000 that you would have on a single family without that help of those extra units paying, you know?
Gotcha. And so you went from, I assume, living in wherever, you know, by yourself or somebody else to being a landlord all of a sudden. You went from taking care of yourself and your family to you got 3 tenants. So how did you like what lesson did you learn as a landlord? Because I think all 3 tenants came with your first property, is that correct?
Yeah, it was fully occupied. It was an easy transition because I was preparing for it. I had been reading. I had took a landlord. NACA requires you to take like a landlord class before and get like a landlord certification or something like that before you close. So I was kind of prepared for it. Again, like I said, I had been reading like just books on psychology, just like, you know what I mean, just working with other people, all of these different things. So it was something I was prepared for. And the cool thing was I inherited tenants who were older than me. So these were mature people, grown-ups, retired teachers, stuff like that. Like, so it was just like a level of respect that was given like right out the gate because they saw a young Black man had purchased the property and everybody thought it was just kind of cool.
Okay. And for y'all don't know, he has a series on YouTube, Landlord Life. So you can kind of check out some of the stories. He kind of goes through his life or, you know, stories as a landlord, you know, the pros and cons there. So what advice maybe would you give to a new landlord that maybe didn't do the research you did?
Man, do the research I did. Because it's necessary, man. You know, like don't think the money is yours, because it's not. You know what I mean? That money is for your property and to keep the property running and going. Understand this is a long game. It's not for you to like, you know what I mean, take advantage of right now. A small portion of it will be for you to take advantage of right now. Like I say, the part where you get to live for free or get to live for a couple $100 and have most of your mortgage being paid by other people. That's the benefit. Learn as much as you can. Respect your tenants. They'll respect you. When people call you about issues, don't get upset. It ain't their fault. Your building ain't acting right. You know what I'm saying? Like, go take care of your business. Do what you got to do. Make sure they straight. And most of the time, if you make sure your tenant's straight, they're gonna make sure you straight. Just do everything with the mindset of how would I want my landlord to treat this situation if the shoe was on the other foot.
Yeah. Do one other stuff. Yeah, definitely. So you talk about you know, the money isn't yours. You talk about budgeting and like capital expenditures. I know you had like a big like plumbing issue.
Yeah, man, it's like $35,000.
So how do you go about budgeting and setting aside money for like capital expenditures down the line?
I just don't spend no money out that accounts, bro. Like, 'cause you just don't know when some shit gonna happen. Like, so I operate out of fear. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just like I just ain't touching none of the money. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'll do stuff like with the peer space money. You know what I'm saying? That'd be cool. Like, but the actual rent money coming, don't touch that shit, man. Cause you just never know. Like, you just never know. Like, I was expecting that plumbing issue to be something light, like maybe like 4 or 5 grand. That shit jumped up to like 35. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, you know, like nigga, it's a down payment on another house. You know, like, so that really like set me back. Like, cause I planned on doing a lot of stuff this year. And yeah, that 35K really hurt me. Cause like I said, that was a down payment on another property.
Yeah, so that's important for you all out there, because 35K is a lot, you know, whether you can pay for it from savings or you can pay for it through a loan. So like if you're, because I hear a lot of folks, they seem to forget about capital expenditures. Like folks look at your rent minus your principal and interest payment is not what it is. You know, you got to make sure that you're planning for those. Hopefully you don't have a $30,000 issue down the line, but you know, stuff like that happens, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's just like a car, man. Like stuff is gonna go bad. Like, you know what I mean? Like just material, pipes, just all of these things have a lifespan. You know what I mean? And if you're not aware of when certain things got done or when the last time something got done, or like if you in a flood zone, like all of these different things you got to be aware of, because they'll eat at your budget, and they'll continue to eat at your budget if you don't get it taken care of in a timely amount. Like you trying to put band-aids on stuff, it's only gonna make it worse. And initially with that plumbing job, that's what I was trying to do. Because initially they told me, they was like, man, this could end up being a pretty big job if these small little patches that we trying to do don't work, because it's just fucked up down here. You know what I mean? And when you start having to bust up concrete and all of that stuff and trying to get to pipes, it gets expensive, because again, they don't pay for that equipment. That's you renting that equipment for them to use it to do that stuff. You know what I mean? Like that don't come out of their pocket, them renting excavators and all of that kind of shit. It's just like once that start like adding up, it's just like, God damn. Like, and if you're not ready for it, that's when the real stress come in. And like I was cool and I was stressed. So imagine if I didn't have the money. And you know what I'm saying? Like I'd have been ready to jump off the fucking roof.
And that's a good point, because a lot of times, you know, folks talk about their landlords, or landlords talk about their tenants being bad, but sometimes it's the landlord doesn't have the money to fix the stuff that just needs to be fixed. So not luckily, but you know, he was disciplined enough to set the money aside. So you know, tenants weren't complaining to him about this and that, and he was just, you know, my tenants suck, etc. So yeah, you make sure you're budgeting for those you know, rainy days, as they say. So have you ever had to like evict a tenant before, or kick someone out of your building?
Man, one time during the pandemic, I actually had to trick dude out the place because he knew he ain't have to leave or whatever the case may be, but the apartment was flooded, and I just kept letting it flood. Like I wouldn't get it fixed. That was a part of the plumbing issue that I got fixed. Like I wouldn't get it fixed. And I just kept on letting it flood. And you know, he was down there with a dog or whatever. I mean, it ended up costing me a little bread, because like I say, I had you know, water damage to, like, you know, or whatever. But I had to redo the whole apartment anyway, so it was just like whatever. But yeah, man, I was trying to get him out. He wouldn't leave, you know what I mean? So I'm like, all right, cool, watch this. And that summer, it just kept raining. Like it just kept raining. He just kept on having to deal with that shit. And so one day he was just like, you know what? I'm just gonna go ahead and dip. I'm like, I kind of figured you would at some point. Shit, you tired of living in shit water? Like, you know what I mean? So after he left, you know what I mean, I went ahead and got everything taken care of.
All right. So how do you go about screening like new tenants? What's your process? Or how do you go about finding tenants in the first place?
I'll use a property manager when I'm in the city, because the city of Chicago, and when you're dealing in big cities in general, they got a lot of rules and a lot of tenant laws. But in the suburbs, it's typically somebody I know, a friend, a reference, you know what I mean? And then I'll, you know, just make sure I do a quick little call to their job, make sure they work, make sure they got the funds to put down. And it's been easy peasy for my building in the suburbs.
Okay. And so, as far as like finding a property in the first place, I know you have like a process where you look at like city records and see what's coming and all that. How do you go about finding or identifying like a good property?
That ain't always a necessity, because some stuff you can just go in the neighborhood and see. Like, but if you trying to like buy like somewhere you're not familiar with, or like buy in the suburbs where there ain't a whole lot of stuff going on, and you just see space and opportunity, you can look into, like I say, city records and stuff like that to see what's coming. But me, for the most part, man, I try to look for amenities for the tenants, because it's not about me, as you know what I'm saying. Because I don't necessarily the person they got to live there. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I look. The first thing is good schools.
Okay.
I try to find like good schools, because most times your tenants gonna have children. So good schools. I try to like be close to like job opportunities, hospitals,
Okay.
businesses, places like that. Transportation, trains, buses, you know what I mean? Those are major things for me. Both of my properties are near phenomenal train and bus lines. Both of my properties are near shopping. Both of my properties are near restaurants. Like, my tenants have the best amenities, you know what I mean? And I make sure that, because when tenants have the best amenities, they don't want to leave. It's hard for them to leave. It's like, God damn, like, man, I could walk across the street to the gym. I could walk to the restaurant. I could walk down the street. It's popping down there. All the bars be cracking. It's like, fuck, I don't want to move from over here. Like, it's like they, like, you know what I mean? People like really get tied to the areas that I buy in, and that's intentional. I do that on purpose, you know what I mean? Because I know what's in those areas. And when you shopping around and you looking for stuff, you definitely want to look for like amenities for your tenants, because that's what's going to keep them, and that's what's going to get you the best rents too. Like, because those amenities is what allow you to, like, you know what I mean, bump your rent up. Like, oh man, I got parking on site, I got restaurants around here, churches, good schools, man, train and bus lines, busing. Like, it's just, you know what I mean? It's what people look for and what they want to pay for.
Okay, gotcha. Makes sense. And as far as the actual screening process, is a word of mouth? Do you have like a program you use, or how do you actually go about saying, hey, I want this tenant in my property, or, you know?
Like I say, so the in the city I use the management company, but for me
Okay.
personally, I haven't even really had to swap tenants out in my other building. I had one tenant, you know what I mean, that left, and she was there for 18 years, I think. And the only reason why she left is because she wanted her daughter to go to a school that wasn't in the area, and she didn't want to pay the out of district fee, so she just moved to the area. But the person that moved in, I had been knowing them already for a long time. I knew they had, you know what I mean, worked at their job for a while. I knew I knew they was a good person, you know what I mean? And it was an easy decision for me to make. They had their money, you know what I mean, all that stuff. Like, just, they did everything they were supposed to do. They brought, you know what I mean, the check thing, try to come with cash and all. It just, you know what I mean? Like, so certain stuff, you can just tell if a person, you know what I mean, like legit or not, or just like is worthy of your space or not, you know what I mean? Because you can lay out a certain blueprint for somebody, like, all right, cool, meet me at the apartment at 12 o'clock, bring a check, do this, and this. Like, they on point, like, you know what I mean? That kind of stuff show a lot. Like, but then you got people late, they come with cash. It's just like, I'm straight.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. Appreciate that breakdown of the program. I want to pivot a little bit. I know you have the book coming out. You talk about kind of what's in the book and the process of writing the book.
Yeah, man. Renaissance's 5-step guide on getting your shit together. Is the title of the book. And it is just pretty much the blueprint that I used to get my mind right before I got into real estate, before I came across any money, before I just did anything monetarily. Because at the end of the day, the mindset is the first thing that should always be worked on. Because if you get $1 million right now and your mind ain't right, you're gonna fuck it off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's proven. Like, you know what I mean? So the first thing is to get your mind right and to get understanding. And that's what this book is about. I went through a time and a space in my life where I didn't get it. I didn't understand. I didn't know anything. It was just either sports or entertainment, like most young Black men, you know what I mean? And I had to figure some things out, and reading allowed me to do that. And this book is a very short read, man, direct, straight to the point. I think it's maybe 50 pages. You know what I'm saying? I got some really, really cool interviews in here.
Okay.
Some of the people that I interview in here, like, have done some amazing things. Like, My buddy Cosign, he's sold over 30, 40 million records in Hollywood, man. He made Birthday Cake for Rihanna, Ass for Big Sean, Anaconda for Nicki Minaj, and and the list goes on. My little cousin DJ Oreo, he's Chance the Rapper's DJ, and just like a lot of other dope artists, DJs on the road. My big sister Rita Lee, man, she's worked with everybody from DJ Khaled to Nas to fucking Nipsey Hussle. I mean, just like, and I have all of these interviews in this book too. And it's just like my 5-step, just like guide on getting your shit together: self-evaluation, the power of your mind and your words, being frugal or fraud, building a solid foundation and maintaining your stability, and then like being able to take your leap of faith into what it is that you want to do. And I elaborate on all those, and I go into depth on all of those steps. And I think it's very, very powerful, and it's gonna help a lot of people, you know what I mean, once they really sit down and take the time to like put their hands on it and read it.
Okay, so what's one thing like you learned? Because you know people, you talk to people, but interviewing somebody, actually sometimes you learn stuff about them that you had no idea. Like what's one like gem or something you took away from one of your interviews that you didn't know before?
That everybody got like a real story, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like everybody got a real story. Like it's just all about if they willing to tell it to you or not. But if you like really sit down and listen, like we all have a path in life. Like, and it ain't nobody path gonna be bigger than the other person. It's just like we all go through stuff. Like ain't nobody out here that ain't never been hurt. Ain't nobody never been like scarred. Like just like we all go through the same emotions: pain, joy, happiness, and just sitting down talking to those people, and like these are people that I know personally and have known my whole life, and just like I've never had this in-depth of conversation with these people. And just to know that we all have a story, man. And it's just like you shouldn't judge people by, you know what I mean, what you see. Like just set the fuck up and listen sometimes.
So where can folks get the when's the book coming out?
I'll probably drop it my birthday weekend. My birthday January 25th, but I'll be in Houston January 21st through the 23rd. And I'll probably drop it that weekend sometime. I'll do it online.
Okay. And so people go to like your Instagram bio, or where can folks like go?
Yeah, they can either go to my personal website to get it. Of course, it's gonna be on my Instagram and my links, so whatever I got Linktree, it'll be up there. It'll probably be the first link that particular weekend because that's what I'm gonna be promoting that weekend.
Okay.
Yeah, man, I'm excited about it, and I'm thinking I'm gonna make it free. People just gonna have to pay for their own shipping.
Okay.
Well, so.
Okay, and you'll be able to find it in the link to the, whether you watch on YouTube or the podcast. I'll put a link to the book in this episode as well. So wherever you're at, click down there and take advantage of it as well. And so talking about mindset in the book. Obviously you have the brand doing right now, your clothing brand. What inspired that?
Mindset matters. I believe that. That's what kind of like got me to where I am, just the way that I think, you know what I mean? The way that I just like believe in myself, understanding that the stuff that I went through in my life and the circumstances that I was dealt just didn't dictate, where I would be today. And I used it for motivation. And I just want to be an example for young men who come from, and young women as well, who come from circumstances that I come from, and the places that I come from, and let them know that mindset is the main thing. You know what I mean? It's not your circumstances, it's the way you think and the way that you feel about yourself. And if you can understand that, you can really do anything out here. And your circumstances don't dictate, how far you go in the world. And that's why I feel like mindset matters more than anything, because if you can think a certain type of way, you can really like make that shit come to life. And I'm a firm believer in that, and I'm a prime example of that, because I come from the bottom. Like I say, my mama and my daddy was on drugs. Like I was adopted into my own family, no financial literacy nowhere. Like I done been homeless before. I done bounced around, you know what I'm saying? I done tried to rap. I done tried to do everything under the sun to be successful. But you know what I mean? This shit right here, this financial literacy shit, this entrepreneurship, this real estate shit is what has gotten me to the next level. And me understanding that and me knowing that quitting would never get me to where I wanted to go, that mindset is what like has got me here. And that's why I try to tell people more than anything, man, get your mindset in order, because if you out here chasing money and all the other stuff, it's cool. But if your mind ain't right, ain't nothing ever gonna be right.
Yeah. So okay, so you basically you are the brand. Your mentality is the brand. How you came about that essentially.
Yes, sir. It's just like it's just my mentality. That's it. Like mindset matters. And the designs, this one is mindset matters. I have another one. Books are key, because for me, everything that I've ever read is what got me here. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the stuff that like taught me how to, you know what I'm saying, think the way that I think, how to move the way that I move, like the books. Like it ain't never been nothing on YouTube. It ain't never been nothing that, you know what I'm saying, like no courses. And the courses have helped too, but like more than anything, books have helped me, like more than anything else. Like courses and shit, cool. But me actually picking up a book with paper in it and words and letters, like that's the shit that like got me to the next level and has taught me the most. That's where I've gotten the most valuable information from books. Like they say, you want to have something from a nigga, put it in a book. And I firmly I believe that, because that's what all the valuable information and all the valuable gems are. Because at the end of the day, it's just like a movie, Dave. Like I don't know if you ever read a book and then when you saw the movie, it's like, man, the book way better.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. Like if you go take a course, it's like, man, that's cool, but I wish I had that shit in the book, because I know the information would have been just like way more in depth. It would have been just like explained better. Like with video stuff, like it kind of got to be compacted, because people only gonna watch it for a certain amount of time. You know what I mean? With a book, like you can actually indulge and you can use your imagination. You can create visuals in your own head. And that's what I kind of like about books, because it allowed me to use my imagination. I got a very like vivid and kid like imagination, like when it comes to just like, you know, creativity and the way that I view things.
Okay, dope. What's one tip you may give to somebody, you know, as far as, you know, starting a clothing brand, you know, that you may have learned through your journey?
You're gonna have to spend some money and test a lot of things out. It's not cheap. Like and I don't even have a clothing brand. I just have, you know, my particular apparel. Like I ain't dealing in pants and shit and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? So like I'm just starting off like with tops and hats. And even with that, it's expensive. You got to test material. You know what I mean? You got to test garments. You got to test fabric. And then you have to test, you know what I mean, ink. You have to test personalities, because you may not necessarily get along with one company or another company. You may like this person better than this person. You know what I mean? So like all of these things are gonna have to like, you know what I mean, make sense to you and add up, because at the end of the day, you want your business to flow smoothly. You want to work with people who want to work with you and who want to see you win. So like it's gonna be work. It's not just like, oh man, I'm gonna go start a clothing line and then it's just that. Like, no, you're gonna have to build relationships. You're gonna have to spend money. You're gonna have to decide if you want to do drop shipping or if you're gonna have inventory. It's just gonna be a lot of stuff that you're gonna have to figure out. Not saying that it's not doable, but it's not gonna be easy. And I think a lot of people have the thought process that when they get into a lot of this stuff, it's gonna be easy. Dave, I created my designs and started working on this stuff in 2016.
Okay.
And I'm just now putting it out in 2021. You know what I'm saying? So like it's been a process for me. And that's because I went and did things the right way. Like I went and got patents and all kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Like I actually own my designs and shit. So that's another thing that I want people to like actually take serious, like the ownership part of it. Like don't just go and create some shit and make some shit and then you start making money on it. And then down the line, a motherfucker will tell you can't sell your own shit because you don't even own it. You know what I mean? A motherfucker will watch you blow all the way up, go do all type of research and check, oh, he don't even own this shit. Let me own it. And now I'm gonna send you a cease and desist letter and tell you owe me all of the money that you done made off a brand that you thought you owned. Like, so like, man, take care of your business first. Make sure like you got, and it's gonna be, it ain't gonna be cheap. That's why I try to, man, it ain't gonna be cheap. So whatever you do, like, don't be scared to invest in yourself. Understand that it's gonna be a cost to all of this shit. And most times you're not gonna get your money back till probably 5 years down the line.
Okay.
Like whole time. Like, and that's no lie. Like whatever you invest in, just make sure that you know that damn, I probably ain't gonna see this money again for at least 5 years, and be ready for that because it's a part of the process.
Yeah, all money in, you got to invest back in the business for the business to grow. So yeah. But cool. Appreciate your time. I don't know if you have any final words of wisdom for the folks, or where can folks connect with you at?
Like I said, I'm Renaissance 125 across all social media platforms: Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, whatever you can name. That's my name on everything. My website, therenaissanceu.com. Check it out. My YouTube channel, I have a ton of content. The Landlord Life series. I have the Renaissance Report. I have Collecting Gems. I have a lot of other just like random ass videos, where I'm talking and just giving game. Yeah, man, my Instagram. I post a lot of dope stuff on there. You might see some of Dave content on there too, because I repost a lot of his stuff. Just really out here, man, trying to grow my brand, moving around, connecting with a lot of the other influencers and stuff as of late. Get in the room with a lot of people, so you might see me at the next fucking event somewhere. Just trying to get out here, bro. And working my number and doing what I can. You seen me shit for the past year and a half, so
yeah.
Just trying to grow and stay consistent.
Okay, cool. And my final question for you is, you got $1 million. You have 1 week to spend it on real estate or real estate adjacent stuff. What would you do with that? You got to spend $1 million in 1 week for some reason.
Damn. That's a good problem to have. I would leverage it out and do probably $5 million properties at $200,000 a piece. So I would turn that 1 million into 5 million immediately, however I can. I would try to find deals like that where I can just utilize the leverage and turn it into cash flow.
Okay, well, there you have it. You ever get $1 million? There's the blueprint. You got to spend it in a week for some weird reason. There you go. So.
Yeah, man, I would just go buy $5 million multi-units where I can put 20% down on them. That's 200,000 each. Yeah, and get the cash flow and live my life and sell them bitches for $10 million later down the line. Like that would be, that's a simple thing for me, bro. Like,
okay.
This shit's super easy. Like when you know how this shit go, like it's just like I'm not gonna go get no jets. I ain't gonna do none of that shit. Like I'm gonna go buy me some more cash flow and let that shit take care of my lifestyle.
Got you. Well, once again, appreciate you for coming on. Telling the folks the good story there. Like I said, pretty much anything you talked about as far as links, those will be down in the bio for the wherever you're watching this. So once again, appreciate your time, and I did not have an outro for this yet, so thank you.